They are not able to handle this outbreak. There is no screening, even for those with symptoms.
They're coming so fast, Joe Biden's building tent cities in Texas.
Soft-sided facility for immigrants in Texas, also known as a tent. And you can imagine, Bill, just how easy it would be for the coronavirus to spread.
I haven't seen that report. I can't validate the accuracy of it.
So first, Joe Biden triggers a surge at the border. During the campaign, he said we're going to give illegal aliens free health insurance, amnesty, asylum. His pal Pelosi promised illegals free vaccines and even floated COVID checks for them. And he just blew the lid off Trump's refugee caps.
This executive order will position us to be able to raise the refugee admissions back up to 125,000 persons.
All this sends a huge signal to Central America. Just come on in, guys. Come on in.
U.S. Customs and Border Protection is saying that they're having to catch and release some migrants without giving them any kind of COVID test. Is there anything being done at the federal level to make sure that this is not contributing to the spread of coronavirus in this country?
Well, certainly the reason we've put in a number of protections in terms of travel and otherwise is to keep the American people safe. But I'd certainly point you to the Department of Homeland Security for more specifics about what's happening at the border.
There's more reports of, growing number of people arriving on the border. How closely is President Biden watching this? What steps are going to be taken to confront this issue?
Sure, he's certainly following it closely, but obviously defers to the leadership and the guidance of his Secretary of Homeland Security.
They're coming so fast, Joe Biden's building tent cities in Texas for migrant minors. We can't hold them long. American law says we need to release them from the tents within a month. Where? Your guess is as good as mine.
I'm here today because I'm dreaming to get to the U.S. What I want for my people, I just want patience and pace that we can get to the U.S. because they're having a new president. Where's Biden? He's going to help all of us. He's given us 100 days to get to the U.S.
Mexico's government has struggled to curb coronavirus contagion. Even under orders to shut down non-essential services, coronavirus cases have continued to spike.
Mexico is saying, you know what, we're not going to take back in Central American migrants trying to cross the border. What's your take on that story?
Well, it's already happened. They're refusing to take family groups because of the Title 42, the COVID restriction. So right now, Liz, no one's talking about it except this network. They're up to over 3,500 encounters a day. Now, do the math. That's over 100,000 illegal alien attempts, entries a month, which is over a million a year. We're at the surge. The surge is here. But the real issue is Mexico won't take back the family groups under the COVID 42 restrictions, which means Border Patrol is releasing family units from the border every day. And they're not tested for COVID. These people are being released into the country.
Due to the pandemic and the fact that we have not had the time as an administration to put in place a humane, comprehensive process for processing individuals who are coming to the border.
We've not had the time as administration to put in place humane, comprehensive process for processing individuals. That's what she said. All I'm saying is you had a plan for so many other things. Why not this, Michael?
This is a massive inaccurate statement that she's getting away with. We have these policies in place. We have laws, and to say that they don't have any system set up, we have a Department of Homeland Security that spends billions of dollars. That is an inaccurate statement, and she shouldn't get away with it.
Is this the right time to increase the number of refugees coming into the country and to also ease immigration and border restrictions?
Well, the president fundamentally believes that having a humane and moral immigration system in place strengthens our country.
So when you hear these types of answers from Jen Psaki and you see that their plans effectively are sending a signal of open borders, what's your reaction?
I'm very frustrated because they're clearly misleading the American people to really drive a political agenda that is putting America second. Shocker, right? I mean, right now, Pete, we're looking at 3,500 a day trying to illegally enter the United States. Under anybody's definition, those are crisis level numbers. And the White House's response is, well, we're forced into this. Pete, no, they weren't. That's a lie. They caused this.
Are you suggesting they're letting people in across the border without testing them, or just tell me a little bit more?
They're being released. They're having to, because of the executive order that the president signed earlier this week.
Which executive? Which one?
Rescinding President Trump's policy, which stopped catch and release. They're saying that they're having to release some migrants into the community before they know for sure that they do not have COVID, and they're worried that it could spread in the community. Is there anything being done?
I haven't seen that report. I can't validate the accuracy of it, but I'd certainly point you to the Department of Homeland Security for more specifics about what's happening at the border.
Republican Congressman Steve Scalise calls it a slap in the face to millions of hardworking families who have been waiting months for the vaccine. And a former top Trump administration official is worried that the policy encourages illegal migration at a time when millions of Americans and DHS frontline officers have yet to receive the vaccine. Now, the number of illegal border crossings, particularly among unaccompanied minors, has grown so much that DHS has had to open what it describes as a soft-sided facility for immigrants in Texas, also known as a tent. And you can imagine, Bill, just how easy it would be for the coronavirus to spread in a facility like that.
An urgent plea from behind bars. Don't let us die from COVID-19.
This will turn our detention into a death sentence because this pandemic requires social distancing, and that is impossible in this environment.
Dozens of men held in close quarters in an Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, detention center made the video pleading to be released.
They are not able to handle this outbreak. There is no screening, even for those with symptoms.
It's a disaster just waiting to happen.
So we talked about last night this issue about a Texas state senator who is a Democrat down near the border who's very worried about the fact that people are being released as they come across the border illegally into the U.S. until they have a court date without testing.
And the reality is, while I can't take a 45-minute flight from D.C. to New York without a test, meanwhile, we have migrants that are participating in caravans of thousands of people that I call active mobile COVID petri dishes, traveling thousands of miles through hot spots in Mexico, which just released they're seeing the highest COVID deaths since this pandemic began. They get to the U.S.-Mexico border and they're stuffed in overcrowded, unsanitary stash houses, and then and tractor trailers as they come across illegally. And what about the 6,600 men and women with CBP that have tested positive, and the 23 men and women with CBP that have died in the line of duty? But our priorities right now are making sure that we're getting tested for domestic flights. It's simply ridiculous, defies common sense and logic.